All right. So I was slamming my head into the wall, trying to figure out why I couldn't get Slick to work as expected. And it was a comedy of a couple of things. There were a couple of errors that were compounding it. So first of all, the problem that we had is that we this is so funny. So I was requiring Slick, which I don't even know what NPM package that ends up being. I just assumed Slick is Slick. But yeah, what we were actually getting was a standalone selector engine compiler thing. Whatever. It was completely wrong. It wasn't the right thing at all. So we have to import the right thing. It should be slick-carousel. All right, so that's the first comedy of errors that was going on with it. It was including an entirely wrong JavaScript package, which obviously isn't going to do the thing. Now, the other issue that was compounding it and making it kind of irritating to figure out what was going on, is we were still including the old JavaScript stuff. So we were including lazy sizes, masonry, jQuery, via script tag, and we were also including it here too. And that's not good. So it was loading on the page twice. It was loading once via Webpack and the other via script tag because we didn't notice that was going on. Yes, Jake, installing the right dependencies helps, but it was even more involved than that. So it was a whole bunch of things at once that were causing this thing to fail, right? So here is our, originally what we were doing here is I was importing this stuff. So I was basically doing something like import Slick from Slick carousel, right? And after going over the source code for Slick, now understand that's a pretty old deal. I realized that this is actually not an ES module, it's a common JS module. And so what was happening is when we were importing it this way, it was getting wrapped in an ESM wrapper and it was returning it, but it wasn't executing the code that was inline in that common JS module, which then adds the jQuery function to the $.fn. Whatever. So if I switch it over to just, and actually we shouldn't even need that, to using an old style common JS import, Webpack, that's a signal to Webpack that says, oh, the thing that you're importing is common JS. We probably should just import this thing normally. Sorry, not normally, but not as a ESM module, and let it go from there. So to recap, well, okay, first of all, let's show some success, shall we? So this is our old website that we're modernizing. We've already Dockerized it. We have already converted it over to using a base templating setup that will make it nice and easy for us. We've got a Webpack 5 build system up and running on it, and we can see that it's running because we got a nice little ta-da confetti in here that it's async loading in. And now, if we click on one of these, we'll get our little Slick lightbox, and you can see the background of the lightbox matches the background of the slider thing here. Oh, I remember this. This was actually a bug. I remember this from the old one. The back button didn't work. We'll fix that. But that was a legacy bug that was in the site. So there we go. We got it up and running. All of the JavaScript that is in here now is now being run through the Webpack 5 build. Our layout doesn't include any JavaScript in the head.js, so we can get rid of all this. And it doesn't include any body JavaScript either. We can get rid of all that. And we can take a look at our TypeScript. And so we're just directly importing masonry And that one, we are just creating a new masonry grid like this. And then for slick carousel and slick lightbox, we're requiring those as ES modules. Yeah. Yeah, and so Jake is saying the state of the module imports. Yeah, so Jake, I would say the real issue here is that I was approaching this old project and was just approaching the JavaScript as a black box without looking at what was in there, because I was just trying to retrofit everything in there. And I really should have taken a look under the hood to see what everything was and how old and outdated some of the stuff was, and changed my approach based on that. I was even doing stuff like trying to use what is it, jQuery Bridget, which is supposed to be registering plugins for you. None of that ended up being needed. All I have to do is just require the common JS stuff, the old modules like this. Now, would it be possible to get Webpack to wrap this up as an ESM and still have it working? Maybe. I'm sure there probably is a setting, probably with the right Babel config, I would be able to get that working. However, I would rather just move on with this project because it's a pro bono project and I just want to get it done. All right, so okay, I forgot to remove another end block. But yeah, so the JavaScript conversion has been the most annoying and frustrating part of all of this, but that part is done at least. And it's ironic because it's really, this is not a JavaScript heavy site. It basically just uses the masonry to make the masonry do this kind of slick resize thing. And then it's using slick.js and slick lighthouse to do the little lighthouse thing that's popping up, and that's it. And you can see it's picking up the background color from the image, courtesy of Image Optimize, which is kind of a nice look. I think it gives it a nice little backdrop to kind of meld into. But that's good. That is good. So what is next on this project? So probably what the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the critical CSS to make sure that that is building and working as is appropriate. And I think that's about it. I mean, I think everything else is kind of up and running on this thing. And we can actually look at moving this to a deployment and moving this back up live. So, Jake, I didn't mention it to you previously, but this is a website that it ended up getting deleted. Like the VPS instance just ended up getting deleted. And I happen to have an old copy of it. Yeah, I had assisted somebody in working on this thing a long time ago. And I had an old copy of it. And I'm like, sure, I'll see if I can figure out how to get this stuff in here and working. But yeah, this is good. This is good progress. Finally. Man, that was driving me crazy getting this stuff to work. I was actually even considering moving over to a different lightbox, but I'm like, no, let's at least figure this out and understand what's wrong, you know? And here we can see all of our nice TypeScript errors. And this is something I was debating before, and I wonder what Jake's take on all of this, if he's listening, is. So for instance, it's saying, okay, this could possibly be null. And yeah, it could possibly be null. Because, maybe that element ID doesn't exist. And we can easily wrap it in a if statement to say, if this thing exists, then do this. But do we want to? Or would we rather just have it throw an error? So that at least we know something is wrong? I don't know. On the other hand, this is production JavaScript that they're going to end up using. Maybe it shouldn't. Yeah. All right. Whatever. We'll do it. We'll do it. So if the nav exists, now it's going to complain about this, so we can do you exist. Now, interestingly, I don't know why it would be complaining here. Because it can't possibly be null, because we're already checking it. That's really kind of lame that it's picking it up like that. I mean, we can make it happy by doing something like that. But it's, what? How is that possibly null? What am I misunderstanding here? It's inside of a function, yeah, so big deal. No, it can't. Liar. Yeah, I mean, I can do an explicit check. But that's not going to do it. No, the issue is, like, so we're doing the outer check here. Right, we can just do an if, because that's fine. Null is always going to be falsy. But why does it think that inside this inner function, this potentially could be null? Like that, I don't understand. Right, and we just clean that up. All right, Jake, take it easy. Yeah, so TypeScript is just complaining that this has an implicit any. So this. What? Right. Huh. All right. And then hex, this is going to be, I think this is an array too, right? I don't remember. It's been a while since I looked at this code. Hex stars. No, it's just going to be a string. It just returns a string. Object possibly null. Yeah, that's true. So let's do it like this. Let's do. Let's just set it to nothing, and then if result x color equals this junk, and then return. If only I could type. And maybe we should just set this to a default. Yeah, just set it to like white. And it's actually lying. It's not returning a hex color at all. It's returning an RGB color, but I guess that's fine. There we go. So we're just going to tell TypeScript to ignore the fact that this doesn't exist because we're fine with it. We're good with it. Just cleaning up a little bit of old code here. And yep. Some of these probably could be consts. Not looking at them very closely. Now, the real right way to do this would be to go in and to add these type definitions, or look to see if they exist. And actually, that's an interesting idea. I really doubt they will exist for Slick, but I really doubt the type definitions would exist. All right, so let's just see. I really doubt it. Typed Slick box. Yeah. I think we're going to be out of luck. So it's just a repository of a ton of types. Oh, it's not even. Yeah. Wow. Wow. They got a lot in here. I mean, I guess we can see. Let's try it in the package.json. See if it can find anything. And basically, it will just automatically add the typing for you for the module. I seriously doubt it exists. It doesn't make any sense. But we'll give it a shot. So if we do something like at types slick. Yeah. It has slick carousel, but I mean, and we might as well add that. Like, there's no harm in adding that. But there are no types for this slick lightbox thing, which is this weird little bespoke thingy. Anyway, let's see what else we got. Yeah, it really doesn't like this, and that's amazing to me. It's amazing to me. Is it because it's inside of this function list? Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what it is. So maybe outside of this context, this could have been changed to null or something else, and then this callback gets called later on somehow. I mean, okay. There we go. All right, so it's at least somewhat cleaned up. Root is redundant. Yes, it is. That's true. It's because it's possible we'll be doing something else with it. Unused parameter. Yep, we know. What do we got here? And there are no fixes for it. Well, it doesn't make sense. So how is this a duplicate? I see. Okay, so this could be refactored to just get it once and then change the property on both of them. Sure. Or I think just this could be done, right? Couldn't we just do this? Yeah. I didn't write this code originally, so don't get on me. Yeah, and we can do the same thing. Nicer. Use var instead of let or const. Yeah, so for instance, this could be a constant. I'm not changing it. Query selector. This can just be this. Okay, so I mean, what we could do is something like this. We could do const slick items equals, right? And then we could just do this. And it's still going to complain that that doesn't exist, but now we should be able to just and suppress that because we know that that property is there. We want it to be there. Nice, we broke stuff. All right, what did I do? Apparently I did that wrong. Why doesn't that work? That should work. I don't see any reason why not. What did we do wrong there? Huh. And constant. That needs to be that. That actually can be a const. That can be a const. I see. Oh, that's the duplicate that I was complaining about. Okay, my bad. That's why it didn't work. That actually makes sense. So how can we simplify this to do our thing? So I think we can do... Yep, I was just applying it to the wrong think we can just do this. And then we do this. We do all right. Really? It's amazing to me. This man must be making some fundamental mistake. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I actually did do that wrong. There we go. I was just being dumb. All right. What are we complaining about? Oh, that's not used? I mean, sure. I guess if we're not using it, we're not using it, right? I sometimes like to leave stuff like that in case I want to reference it later, and I know that I want to reference it later, but whatever. In this case, we're actually going to be tearing out the confetti anyway at some point. So it's totally fine. So dumb. And I guess we'll just get rid of it. Anywhere. It's always nice to have clean and tidy JavaScript. All right, and we're almost there. There's one thing it's complaining about. Arguments do not match. This is actually right though. I'm going to suppress it for the statement because it is actually correct in a Webpack context. I wonder if I think I'm including the right types. I am including the Webpack types, so it should. Yeah, it should catch that. All right. So we have our Webpack build up and working. We have all the things working the way we want them to. We're missing an Ajax Loader, which is apparently something from Slick. What? Come on now. Okay. I don't know what that was. HMR being silly, I guess. Yeah. All right. So we got all that working. Let's just see what this spinner thing is and why it might be missing. I'm just wondering if it's in some other... I'm not seeing it anywhere. that. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just find that image inside of should be somewhere inside of the slick stuff. Yeah, I could require it and have it be part of the build process. All right, let's see. All right, so I found a little Ajax Loader thingy inside of it, and so I'm just going to copy this to my web directory in here. It wants it in image, I believe, which is fine. There we go. All right, so let's try again. What? What? Are you kidding me? Just because I put the Ajax Loader in there, that's freaking out now? That's funny. Oh. Okay. Weird. All right, so that favicon.ico is no problem. That will be done by the production build. That will be no problem. I guess the only other thing that I want to try to do is to try to do a dist build and just see what goes wrong. Yeah. So here's our project, and okay, so what it should build is a dist directory in here, which is going to have our front end CSS and all that kind of fun stuff. And then a lot of this stuff can go away, like the I don't know, this is on camera. Let's see here. Yeah. So like the CSS directory should be able to go away entirely, and the JS directory should go away entirely. It's not loading any of this stuff. I don't know what typed is, and I don't know what packery is, but it doesn't seem like it's actually used anywhere. Images loaded, I think, is actually used. Well, let's do this. Let's take all of this stuff that we're not going to need, or we shouldn't need anyway, and get rid of it. Oh, and it wants the font too, huh? Okay, well that's fine. We'll just leave it in there as a static thing. Okay. But now the front end should still totally work. Yeah. Okay. And then what I want to see is an assets build. And I accidentally launched GoLand by mistake. Yes, I'm sure I want to exit Not doing any Go today, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's get our terminal window open here. And let's do a new one. Got a new terminal. And so build chain. So we got to set up our end.sh. And so we'll do Docker container ls. And here are all our Docker containers. So we're going to be that. I don't know why I'm using nano. It's silly. Might as well just edit it right in here. And I believe we're running, what was the container? MariaDB, okay. It'll be useful later on for pulling stuff down from production. Okay, so now we should be able to just do a build. So here are our scripts. So we're going to do docker prod build, and this should do a production build inside of the Webpack container, and it should output everything to CMS Web Dist. So everything should be all neatly, nicely bundled up there, and it should be stuffed in there. And then the JavaScript and everything that we load in is just going to work. We can kill the Webpack dev server container, and then we can test it to see if it works. And succeed or fail, I'm going to be ending the stream because I have to get ready for some other stuff that I'm doing. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So I did indeed create a dist directory. Hello, Mr. Tyler. Come on. Have a seat. Get your headphones. Do your stuff. Yep. We're doing it. Hello, Mr. Tyler. We're doing another one soon. So I'm going to be ending this one, and then we're doing another one. Okay? All right. And we got an error. Sweet. Okay. This, I just need to clean up the build config. We'll do that next time. That'll be a good thing to focus on for the next one is a build config. There's just it's got some example.test and that kind of stuff in there. So we are going to end this stream, and we got everything working.